This practitioner inquiry sets out to add to the discourse in professional development and quality teaching. First, let's review what we already know about effective PD and QT. We know that students will learn better if their teachers are engaged in the learning process. Collaboration builds collective responsibility for constantly improving teaching practice and so student learning. We know that quality teaching is an effective tool that will engage teachers in the learning process. The challenge for teachers and schools is to develop a shared understanding of what excellent practice looks like. This is where implementing QT would help as a school-wide focus. We know John Hattie outlines a range of effective teaching styles, also known as HITS, high-impact teaching strategies. This inquiry aims at introducing a set standard teaching procedure that should be added to the QT dimension of intellectual quality. The sub-question is, what are the most effective ways to check for student understanding? This question is vital for teachers to check that they are delivering content in an effective way and should be implemented in delivering quality teaching. Now let's look at the meta-analysis. So the outcome for this inquiry is to know the most effective method to check for student understanding and to implement this across lessons to encourage student participation. Some of the influences in the inquiry were the supervising teacher, looking at quality teaching framework model, and check for understanding activities. Now for the research. As part of the inquiry, I gathered research which was speaking to the supervising teacher. I was looking into academic research, and I was adjusting check for understanding activities on a day-by-day basis. I also had formal observations, and I was also taking place in quality teaching rounds. So I had 3 teachers code a lesson. Although this was a daunting experience, it was an invaluable process. QT allows teachers to use a language that is free from emotion and judgment. Check for understanding hits into quite a few elements of QT. We could say that checking for understanding works itself into deep knowledge, deep understanding, explicit quality criteria, engagement, student self-regulation, and background knowledge. Across each of these elements, I scored mostly 4s, which is a clear indicator of the ways check for understanding activities can help weave into other dimensions of quality learning. Now for the conclusion. The most effective method that I found for check for understanding is to give students a safe space to provide comments, questions, or written feedback via a plenary pyramid or a WWW activity. Hands-on desk activities produces superficial knowledge and is not accurate. Written feedback aids in giving the teacher information into levels of differentiation also. Students are better able to understand content when there are clear learning goals on the board and a screenshot of the student's syllabus, linking the learning goals to the syllabi. Students need to feel an element of control in their learning. The learning goals at the beginning of the lesson gives the students a destination for where they need to be by the end of the lesson, how they will get there, and why they have to get on the flight. It is also crucial for the teacher to scaffold the planning when checking for understanding. It could be argued that QT aims at providing teachers with a means to check for understanding, including a range of elements that hit into this activity. But by creating an element within intellectual quality of checking for understanding, this coding makes teachers accountable for this vital element of learning. For all purposes, it seems that this would be the most beneficial element to help students, teachers, and professional learning in progressive practice.